Alright, welcome to iOS app development. I'm Dave Fisher. I'll take some time to introduce myself, but to be honest, I kind of like to start the course with a demo. So we'll talk more about like some things that I've done, why iOS development, things like that. But to be honest, I kind of like to start with a demo. The demo I've done in the past has a couple different screens just to kind of show you buttons and labels, show you a little bit about touches, show you a little bit about tables. In this video, you do not have to follow along. You just have to sit back, observe, just kind of see what is this like development process kind of all about. Just to kind of mention it, this development process changes quite rapidly. So for example, just from a couple of years ago, you can see the UI has completely changed. And there's just so many things that are different. It's actually really frustrating as a professor because like I make all these videos. So this was like an iOS course from a couple of years ago, right? And there's like, hours of videos in these things, like, and 30 some videos, and they're all just completely worthless because just the project changes so much so quickly. Some of the newest things are Swift, so there's a new programming language, Xcode 6, iOS 8. So those are kind of the tools that I'll be building on. You get about 2 years before things completely change. So we're going to go through, we're going to do a demo with kind of the current tools, like see how Swift works and things like that, and just kind of let you observe what does this iOS development look like. So when you open up Xcode, you're going to get something that kind of looks like this. If you've already done projects, they'll show up over here. Probably for you, when you open it up, you'll get nothing. You can do a playground if you just want to do some things learning about Swift, but most of the time what you want is a new Xcode project. So when you open up a new project, it should look something like this. It changes over time, so it should look kind of something like this. You've got a couple different templates that you can start with. There used to be a template called the window-based application, which was my favorite template. But these days, like if you want to do something simple, it's going to be a single view application. A lot of what we're going to do in the course is kind of this master detail, where there's kind of like a main menu page and then a drill down into a detail view. So that's actually the demo that I'm going to do today. Actually, you know what? I should probably start with a demo of the actual finished product. Let's do that first. So the demo that I'm going to build today is just going to be called First Day Demo. And what it is it's got these 3 different areas you can go into. So you can go into the buttons and labels area, which I've decided to make yellow just so you can see it. And there's a button for counting up, a label for displaying the value, and then also there's a button for counting down. The simulator is really nice because you don't have to have a device. You can actually do all your iOS development just with the simulator. We'll also do a little bit just to kind of show you about touches. So here if I touch a different spot on the screen, I've got an image, so there's a lot of things with image that goes to that location. And then I've just kind of got a basics of tables where I've just kind of put some names of people that are in the course, and then when you click on it, it pops up and says you clicked on that name, right? So this is the demo that we're going to build. You just have to sit back and kind of watch as things go. So I'm going to call this the First Day Demo. I've set my organization to be Rolls-Holman. My organization identifier is typically the reverse DMS of the URL you own. So it's just going to be edu.rollsholman. The language that you would prefer, we're going to be using Swift. You will have to learn Objective-C too, because it's been around for just decades, right? So if you want to like use other people's codes, you're going to have to know Objective-C. But we are going to teach you about Swift. And then, do you want it for all the different iPads and all the different iPhones? For this example, I'm going to pick just iPhone just to kind of keep life simple. So you pick where you want to save that file to. I just picked a spot on my computer, and then you're ready to go. You can see that iOS takes a lot of screen real estate, which is going to be hard for the video. So I'm going to regularly be doing things like turning on a side or turning off a side and things like that. It's actually really hard to make everything fit into a video here, but I'll do the best I can. So we started with a master detail view, and you can actually run it just right out of the box, and it'll do something for you. So when it starts up, it'll give you a master view here, and if you click on plus, what it'll do is it'll give you a timestamp. So you can actually see the exact time when I'm recording this video by looking at the timestamp. And then if you go into one of these things, you can see a detailed description of what's there. To be honest, I don't really care. I'm going to just delete whatever it does here. But these templates are a really good way for you to kind of learn about some iOS development. For what I'm doing, though, I really don't care about the stuff they gave me. I'm actually just going to kind of kill it, right? So I'm going to take their 2 Swift files that they made, and I'm just going to delete them because I'm going to be doing my own, right? Into the storyboard. So this is like the graphical layout of what your app looks like. I'm going to zoom out some here just so you can kind of get some chance of seeing things. So you can see that right now there's what's called a navigation controller, which kind of pushes and pops all these individual views onto it. There was that initial table, which was the master controller, and then there was the detail page. I don't really want their detail page. I'm just going to blow it away. And their master view controller, I'll kind of get it centered up here. I'm going to make some changes to it. So it used to be of type master view controller. I'm just going to take that off. And it used to have connections for the table to get information about like how many rows were in it and things like that. To be honest, before it was dynamically made, so it just depended on how many like items were in an array. What we're going to do, if you remember our app, is we're just going to always use 3 rows. So I'm just going to hard code those 3 rows in. When you want to do something like hard coding, what you have to do is you have to select the table view itself and then go into its properties. And by default, it uses dynamic properties, so it gets information from its data source. We're just going to actually be using static cells, and we're just going to want 3 of them. It worked out quite nice that whenever you have static cells, you default to getting 3, so it worked out good for me. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to change the titles on these. The first one's to say buttons and labels, the second to say touches, and then the third to say tables. Then what I want to do is I want to have each of these push on a different view controller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag on a view controller. Extremely hard to see with the resolution that I've got here. I guess I can zoom out so you can kind of see what's going on. So there's one view controller, and that's going to be what I'm going to use for the first one. Here's a second view controller, and then the bottom one's actually going to be a table view controller. If you are trying to follow along, there's a bunch of little things to do, so I'm just kind of going at a pace that's comfortable for me. So these are going to be the 3 view controllers. The first thing that I want to do is I want to just go ahead and make them different colors, just so that I can actually like see that something is popping up. So what I want to do is I want to take this top one, I'm going to grab its view, and instead of a white color on the background, I'm just going to make it a yellow. And then the second one down, I'm going to grab it, and instead of white on it, I'll just make it some light blue. And then the third one is a table. So, I mean, you'll see when the table pops up. And really what I want to do first is I just want to make my connections so that if this guy is clicked, oops, I'll have to zoom back in a little bit here. It only lets you do some things when your zoom level is at 100%. So whenever he is clicked, what I want to happen is I want to show that view controller. And then if this middle one is clicked, what I want to do is I want to show this view controller. And then if this bottom one is clicked, I want to show this bottom view controller. So what I've done here is I've actually made an app that'll work. It'll have backgrounds that change colors, but I haven't actually made any code yet, which I think is neat, right? So I can click on buttons and labels. It shows that yellow one. I can click on touches. It shows the blue one. And if I go to tables, it'll go to the one called tables. I don't really like that word called master. I do want to go in and fix that real quick. So instead of master, I'll say something like home or menu or something like that. If you want to run it again, it's just Command R. So you can see that now it says home there, and it goes through the different things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up each of these view controllers as a separate video. So we'll cut this one off now, and we'll see you next time. All right.